Greetings and welcome to this episode of Living the Wiccan Life. My guest today is Archpriestess Reverend Virginia Bitterwind Smith, and the subject of our talk today is sacred art. What it is, why we do it, how we do it, the effects it has on us. Hi, Bitterwind, thank you for being here with us today. In your opinion, what makes art sacred? What is the definition of sacred art?
The definition of sacred art is simply art affecting you. Sacredness generally is a matter of feeling, a matter of understanding the whole around you. The beauty that catches the eye is the sacred art. Any beauty catches the eye is sacred in a sense because it affects you, because you yearn toward it. The yearning itself is sacred. I don't know if I can explain it better. It seems that mankind has a bias toward beauty or ugliness.
Okay.
He rejects ugliness, yearns toward beauty. To me, this seems to be an inherent trait, and an inherent trait is sacred in itself.
Well, I have to agree with that, but I have a question about this. By that definition, all art is sacred.
Yes.
If it's truly art, then how would that form of sacred art be distinct from spiritual sacred art? Or is there a difference?
There's a difference in the concept of what is sacred, I think.
What is sacred or what is spiritual?
Yes. The Crusades, you had people going off and dying for crummy plastic crosses.
Right.
And other people fighting for the Star of David. And other people fighting. The sacredness of something is in the viewpoint of the person who perceives it. But a thing that is sacred to everybody is bound to be a universal beauty.
That is true, but is there any one thing which is sacred to everybody?
Not really, unfortunately. This is why you have such a variety of beauty and such a variety of ugliness, is because that everybody who strains to understand sacredness in itself is going to have different viewpoints. But some things are made to be sacred. There are the Last Supper. It
Right.
was made to be sacred. Therefore, it's recognized as a sacred object. And you have it in print in a lot of places. My sacred objects are more natural bound because, being of the Wiccan persuasion, I believe that through nature you get a better viewpoint of God. Therefore, my sacred objects are likely to be natural-looking sacred objects.
Right, because the natural in nature is sacred to you.
Yes.
And you have done quite a body of work of your own personal art, which you often don't list as spiritual. But nearly every piece you have done expresses some spiritual viewpoint for you, even with the very few that you say are only beauty.
Mm-hmm.
To you, the beauty is sacred and is spiritual. And that is a form of sacred art. Now, there are other forms, and one that's dear to me, and we have done this before, you and I and Reverend Don and friends, is the making of sacred masks or sacred shields,
Mm-hmm.
which embody the expression of yourself or an aspect of yourself. A mask I made was for the energies of the South, and in particular at that time the Native American viewpoint of the energies of the South. And the thing that was really interesting to me in making this mask was that I had a preconceived idea of what this would look like, and beautiful was definitely in my mind. But as I was making it, and it took a couple of weeks to do this, the forming, the setting up, the mask itself began to tell me what it wanted to look like. And it was far different, but very powerful from what I had envisioned for it. And to me, that is a form of sacred art. Can you think of others?
Well, like you said, sometimes you as the creator are imbued with a different vision than what comes out. And sometimes that different vision is not the right vision, and the changing of it as you are creating makes a difference in yourself.
That's true, because I intended it, and this form of art to me is definitely for the purpose. You make this mask, shield, staff, what have you, with the intention that it will draw forth the qualities that you are imbuing it with through you into your life and help you to develop into these qualities. And in the end, the qualities of you, as you've just said, may be far different from what you were intending. And that is part, to me, of the magic and the sacredness of it.
Yes, yes. There are times when I am in creative mode, when I am it's not happy, it's transcendent.
I know the feeling.
It's
yes. The purity of the
yes.
purity of the artist expression and experience, the feeling of art flowing,
yes,
spirit flowing through you.
Yes, spirit flowing through you toward the thing that you are making.
Yes.
And that in itself is worth, it's a spiritual experience. It's a spiritual experience, and if you come out with something that looks spiritual, that's even better. But still, the experience itself is the
Separate
creative,
part?
yeah, the separate part that makes you do it, that makes you want to do it, that makes it able to give away, if you see what I mean.
Yes, I think you do. I hadn't heard it expressed that way, but it does say it well. Okay, and we need to talk just briefly now, because we're almost out of time. How do you do sacred art?
Well, basically, you start out with whatever you've got that looks pretty in itself, and then add more.
Okay, but it doesn't need to look pretty either, like in mask or shields.
No, it doesn't need to look pretty. For me, beauty is a key. It really is. I have a tendency to, like everybody else, to put things in categories, to judge things, and I reach for the pretty thing and try to add more prettiness to it in the hopes that it will touch more people that way. That I would really, really like to be able to create something that is beautiful to the eye, makes a person think, and makes a person feel that touch of spirit that I was trying to imbue in it.
And I think the feeling is the most important part of that. In summary, the easiest way to do sacred art is to have a concept and find a physical form that expresses this for you, whether it is in three-dimensional art, as Lady Virginia does, which can be mask and shield, or in some other form. It can be paint, it can be poetry, it can be many things, but it is bigger than you are, and it pulls qualities and abilities out of yourself you didn't know you had. And thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you, Lady Bitterwind, for joining us. I always enjoy your company, and blessed be.
Blessed be.